Hello and welcome to another edition of Premier League Overtime. Great to have your company here once again this week. Of course, Sam Tugwell over here, Doug McDonald-Taylor over there. How you going, mate?
Great, Sam. Great to be back for another week.
Yes, that's right. We've just had a blockbuster weekend go past, and I mean, such a huge round worth of action that's just gone by. And one player who was in the thick of it and is here to talk to us all about that and her career and everything else that she wants to come out and answer here today from us Goobers on the side of the table is Tara Robinson. Great to have you here, Tara. And how was your weekend?
It was good. All moved into a new house, so it's all happening.
Busy girl. Well, there was plenty of basketball on the weekend. And just before we get to your game, Tara, we'll take a look at the full results from the weekend that was. And I mean, there was quite a lot of interesting results, especially for some teams like the Central Districts in the men's who clocked up their first win for the year. They've had a really hard road up until that point, but they managed to get one against West Adelaide in a nail-biting overtime sort of finish.
Yeah, absolutely, Sam. Central's really needed that win, and they've got one against Westies, who I'd talked up quite heavily last week. So it's an interesting lead because we had Forest on the weekend. They lost to Sturt, who beat Westies, who lost to West last week, who have now lost to Central. So much needed win by them, and they're on the board finally.
Absolutely, and of course some other results there as well. North Adelaide getting up over, Southern Tigers getting up over North Adelaide by quite a large amount in the men's game. And we'll get to the women's Southern game as well in a moment too. But I think we'll just lead into our first game for this week that we'll have a quick look at, some highlights and whatnot. The Forestville Eagles men up against the Sturt Sabres, because Doug, this game was probably pick of the round because of the very last couple of seconds.
Yeah, look, it was Forest and Sturt never failed to put on a show. Their matches are always pretty close, and this weekend was certainly no exception. The interesting point, if you look at the box score and see Rios with 29, Adam Doyle with 19, Trent Files with 21, and to see Hamish Burns be held to 8, you would just probably go ahead and assume the Forest would have got the win, but they didn't. They had commanding lead at different times in the game, and still midway through the third, they were, I think, 16 up, but Sturt rallied, behind their new import, Josiah Lee, with 18 points, 14 rebounds and 5 assists. And I think, 17 points, including the game winner. So, look, a massive game. There was 1.2 seconds on the clock. It was all tied away, Sam. And they had a baseline ball and down Sturt's end. Looked like it was going to go to overtime. They run a play, and Isaac White's managed to find himself free in the corner, and he's now the jumper for the win. So Sturt will be happy. They needed to bounce back after last week, and Forest will be ruining another close loss and a win that they probably should have got.
Well, what a great way to bring up that win for Sturt. That was much needed. We'll just quickly cross over to Centrals as they took on West Adelaide, and the men's game there. It was the Bearcats that fell to the Lions in OT, and the Centrals clocking their first win for season 2016, a 75-68 result. And the Bearcats just fell off in overtime. It was they only scored 2 points, I think, to about 8. So that wasn't too good there. They just fell over, but it was Perkins who put in 22 for West. Truslove was outstanding. Another 22 points to go with, 22 boards to go with 19 points. And Akol Deng, how about this? 2 points, 17 boards for the game. Just his very lazy contribution off the boards.
Yeah, it was a rebound. It was a battle of the big man, Daniel Carlin and Blake Truslove, both having high teens points, and we mentioned the rebounds. But it was, like you said, it was tough for the Westies to get points in overtime, and it was the Centrals and Daniel Carlin's free throws down the stretch that iced the game for him. So well done to him, and Westies will, at the end of the season, might look back on that one and go, gee, that's one we probably should have got.
They should have put that one away, but in the end, Centrals get their season win at number 1 for themselves. So very nice there. But Tara's here, so we're obviously going to talk about the Southern Tigers and their result, but unfortunately it didn't quite swing their way as North Adelaide got the cookies in the end. A 14-point loss for your girls, Tara. It was 87-73, and young Opal Mater did a fair bit of damage for those guys. 28 points at 71% field goal. Quite phenomenal. A really good night out for her. But, I mean, I've got to ask you this, Tara, because it was just a little bit concerning when I looked at the score sheet. It was yourself, Molly McKendrick, and Taraya Cunningham that had about, 67 out of the 73 points for your team. Was that a concern as you were addressing the team at half-time, three-quarter time, that you guys were the main scorers?
Yes and no. Like, obviously, we always want to spread out the scoring and share it around as much as possible, but it just so happened that shots were coming to us three, I think, at that sort of certain point. We were running plays for everyone, but North, covered who they covered, and we were just lucky ones to get open, I think.
Well, it was a really good game in the end, but I mean, there's players in your side, Taraya and of course Molly McKendrick. Are they really good additions to your side now? I mean, last year you didn't quite have the year that you guys would have wanted, but this year you girls seem to have stepped up a bit.
Yeah, the addition of those two is just, it's great for us. It adds a whole new element to the game. Taraya is so explosive, and she runs the court with ease, and she's picking up on her defence too, so she's a bit of a threat both ends of the court, which is really helpful for us. And Molly, she's does what she does. She comes out, she hits the shots when she's open, she surprises you all the time, but she's going to work her butt off all the time too. So I think adding that to the young girls that we have and the extras from last year too, we're really growing, so it's helpful.
You and Molly obviously played in the Adelaide Lightning over the summer, so Tracy York was a big part of obviously all of that and the team there. She's your coach, obviously. What does she bring to the table? Like, how good is she for your team and for you personally as well?
I think the fact that I have that Lightning bridge with Southern too, like that's one of the main reasons why I came over to the club from Forestville. So she just ticks a lot of boxes for me as a player. She's easy to play for. She's easy to be coached by, and I think as a player, my big philosophy is be coachable and do what the coach says. So she's very clear in what she asks for, all that sort of stuff, and I like her system. Her system just makes sense, and it's easy to read, and a lot of the girls pick up on it pretty easy too. So it's good. It
seems to be a very fun environment down there at Southern at the moment, and I mean, as a club, it seems to be some sort of revolution going on down there at Tigerland. Some really good things going on, a really good vibe. What's it like to be down there at a club at the moment that seems to be so exciting and have a really bright future ahead?
It's been amazing. It's family. Like, that's the biggest aspect of all of it. Is every game you come to, the kids are all there. They're making, like, it's like when I first started playing. Kids are making signs. They're idolising you. They want to be a part of it. They want to, they want autographs. It's that kind of comes when you're playing with the Lightning. But in Premier League, kids asking for autographs is not a big thing that happens. So the kids and the families and just knowing that sort of everyone's got your back within the club is something that's really pushed down there, but also comes with ease. So everyone's willing to help each other out, and it's really evident.
That's fantastic. I mean, it's a great story that Southern have got going at the moment, Doug. I mean, how great are they going at the moment?
Yeah, they're going good. Some big signings in the off-season, and it's good to see. We haven't had a presence down there for a long time. The men haven't won it since 1998, and the women haven't won it since 96. So, and even not winning it through those 18, 20 years, they haven't really had too many teams in both the men and the women that would challenge for a championship. And look, we've seen their men are definitely in the running this year, and the women are still, look, they have a pretty good team. You have a good team, but you've got wins against, I think, Centrals and, who's the other one? Eastern?
Eastern.
Yeah. And you've fallen short against Norwood and North. So we're still yet to find out exactly where the women are. This week will be an opportunity for Forestville coming up. They're around the mark. They're in the 5 at the moment. One of the teams you'll need to try and displace if you're to play finals. So I'm really looking forward to this week. Speaking of Forestville though, let's turn back the clock a little bit. A couple of questions. I want to look. We've been involved in the senior program for Forestville since about 2003.
Yep.
I think we've worked out. So you're a young 16-year-old. Let's fast forward a little bit then to 2005. So you were 18 and still at school.
Yep.
Playing the odd minute here and there. Now your team that year have gone on to make the grand final, led by Jenny Screen and Sherry Smith, now Gallagher. And but for the grand final, you were without those two stars, and you were coming up against a North Adelaide unit led by Erin Phillips, and other Lightning players, Tanya Dew and Jenna Powanski, plus other great players, Keane, Coughlin, and a few others. So you were massive underdogs. Yeah. You also had Mia Newley, who was 16 at the time, Nikita Lee Martin, who was also 16. So you got the three girls, all still at school, Sam, who had played minutes throughout the year, all of a sudden come out in the grand final and have to play big minutes, led by an inspirational Dee Ramford, and you've come out and pulled off the win. It was unbelievable. I was at the game, and I going into, I just thought they wouldn't lose, and they didn't. It was one of the best underdog stories this league's ever seen. Did you understand at the time what a massive effort it was, or were you just a bit too young? Did it really sink in, or has it sunk in since? Because they're so hard to win, and you managed to pull one off so young.
I think at the time I was just young, happy to be a part of it, playing along people that I'd idolised as a junior. Just to be able to be on the court with them was exciting enough. But looking back now, it's a huge honour to be able to do that and win. And Dee was a big reason why. She sort of picked us up and gave us that confidence that we could, do anything. I think in that game, anytime there was a turnover, there was always someone that had your back saying, get back out there, keep it going. And the team kind of did. We all stepped up and played our roles, no matter how old we were, to get the job done as such.
Yeah, anyway, it's one of my favourite memories. So I wanted to touch on that. Then later on, you went overseas, you came back, you were part of championships again with Forestville, again joining up with Mia Newley. Was it a different feel then? You were sort of the old firm, they won 3 in straight. They're up there with the Norwoods and some of the other great teams of the past. Yeah. Was it a different feel with that success?
I think so. Like having the, history and experience from playing in those other ones, it makes it a little bit easier. If it's a different opponent, it tends to still be hard to adjust to. But yeah, I think the older I got in the championships that we had, our roles were different too. We had a lot bigger role, a lot more relying upon us as individuals. So, but I think in the same regard, the reason that those championships were won is because we did band together and all played for each other, and everyone was diving on every possible loose ball to have every possession.
Yeah, it was a fantastic,
it was a good time.
Fantastic group of players.
Oh yeah.
We've mentioned some of your coaches. Dean Kingsman was one over the time, yep. Sharon Simons, Tracy York. You've been coached by some fantastic coaches. In terms of your own development, is there someone that stands out, not necessarily from that group, but throughout your career that's probably helped the most with your development?
I think Dean sparked it. Dean was the one who got me involved with Rachel Spawn, and I was lucky enough to, in the first few years of Premier League, to have individuals with her early mornings before school. And she was that one that sort of really made me, pick up my game and make me who the player I wanted to be. And that was, backed by Dean. So he's the starting point of all of this, I suppose.
Okay, great. And congratulations on your Lightning year.
Thank you.
That was your first year as a major player. I think you've been a development player a couple of years.
Yeah, 2 years before I was a development player.
Look, you had a really good year. Yeah, I think you averaged 14 or 15 minutes a game, and you started a few games. And as a team, I think you ended up with 10 wins, which was probably more than most people thought you were going to get.
Predicted,
yeah, definitely. So tell us a little bit about your year and what it meant to you.
I think it was just a shock to start with, like to be put into that starting lineup in the second or third game and to travel with the team when I didn't expect any of that. I expected to train and keep my head down and help the team out, but the fact that the opportunity came up and Tracy wanted someone to work hard and fill that role, and I was the one doing it and persistent to keep doing it. So I think I was just that sort of glue that helped us, get over those humps, and to win the games that we did. We were extremely proud with how successful we were, and people did. They sort of pegged us down to not get as many wins too. So for us, and to prove, a few people wrong, it was nice to beat some of those teams that people didn't think we would beat.
Yeah. Oh, good on you. And we have also toughest opponent.
I mean, obviously with the Lightning and WNBL, everyone is tough because the spectrum is a lot higher, and you've got opals. Like, you're playing against opals out there, so everyone's tough. No one's easy. But Premier League, definitely, I think North and Norwood have that, and that's the two that we will chase more than not. I think we played North 3 times, so we at least get 2 more cracks at them, which is exciting because I think we're right up there with them. We've just got to iron out the kinks a little bit and be ready to compete with them.
And you touched on Norwood. Their record is outstanding. No one's really got near them yet this year. Can anyone get near them? And because there seems to be the Norwood, and then there's a small blanket or a big blanket of teams. Yep. North, yourselves, Forestville, Woodville, Sturt. You could probably throw a blanket over those 6 clubs. Can anyone beat them? And and do you think you guys can beat them by the end of the year?
They're a tough team, and a lot of them have been playing together a long time, and Foles is such a great player to play with and play for, so you can fully understand why they are that sort of powerhouse team at the moment. I think any team's beatable, so I won't say that no one could beat them. I would hope that I think we would be able to beat them, but we'd have to be on our absolute top game, because day in and day out they are on their absolute top game. So you just got to be that little bit better than them on the night. I think it's just going to come down to what happens on the night.
Yep, absolutely, Sam.
Well, it's they're 4-0 at the moment on the women's table, continuing that undefeated run that they started last year, of course, at the start of 2015 season, and they haven't stopped rolling. So they're doing a very nice job at the moment. As we take a look at the women's ladder, what a great segue that is, guys. Thank you for that. And of course, your mob there, down at 7th, unfortunately, at the moment, but the record isn't too bad, 2-2. Pretty much it's the same as West there at 6, but then everyone else is on 3. So it just means that everyone else has just managed to get 1 or 2 wins on the board, probably some easy ones there too. So you just had a challenging start, but I'm sure you've got plenty of games and winnable games ahead of you, which will pump you back up the ladder. But there's it's certainly a very competitive looking ladder so far. Just unfortunately, they're Eastern, Southern and Central all in the women's, yet to buy themselves a win. But they shouldn't be too far away, hopefully. Of course, with Eastern and Central's playing each other this week, there has to be a winner. So that one of them will be quite happy at the end of the weekend. But of course, South Adelaide, I believe, are taking on West Adelaide. So we'll see how they go there as well. And of course, the men's Southern Tigers down there, you guys are absolutely flying. Number 1, how well are the men going?
It is exciting to watch, really exciting. Like, not only is my partner there now, so it's exciting to be able to watch him after a game, but those boys, they look like they've played together for years, and that's something that doesn't come along easily. So it's very exciting basketball to watch. The names help, but they're coming together really well and sharing the ball around, it's good.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. The group they've got together and they've just managed to string together in a couple of months is quite amazing, isn't it, Doug? I mean, you don't usually get a group of superstars like that just into a team within a season. It's quite something.
Yeah, it is something, and it's exciting for the league and definitely exciting for Southern. And like I said, they haven't won it since '98, so it's great to have a presence down there. And you look at their starting group with Starling now in it as well, Creek, Johns and Jordan Dodman. That's as good a starting lineup as this league's seen for a while. So it's exciting times, and they're going to be tough to beat. And I'm looking forward to the matchup with Forrestville this week, because Forrestville are an up-tempo team as well. They've come close to beating Norwood and Sturt, the 2 grand finalists from last year. So they'll be entering this game thinking that they can win it, definitely. And it'll be high scoring, it's going to be free flowing, and I'm looking forward to it. But Southern Tigers, they're good to watch, and everyone's watching them at the moment. So.
Yeah, I was down there on Sunday night, and that was the first time I'd seen them in action for myself, and God, I wanted to see more and more and more of it. It was quite something. So very entertaining times. So of course, as we look ahead at round 5. There is the Southern and Forestville game there at Morphett Vale Stadium, so make sure you get along to see Tara in action, of course, the men who are top of the table. So that should be a very exciting night for sure, that Saturday night. Eastern take on Central, so in the women's especially, they're very fascinating. One of them will come out winners, and the other one will have to continue to search for that first W. West Adelaide take on South, Woodville take on Sturt, and Norwood against North Adelaide. And I guess, Tara, the Norwood-North Adelaide game, a grand final rematch from last year, 2 heavyweights. Your pick for me, please. So who do you think will get up in that?
You know, I think Norwood. I think Norwood will get him. I don't think it'll be much in it, but Norwood will still get him.
Doug?
Ooh, North were impressive. Opal May is in great form. They've got Sarah Ellsworthy coming off the bench, having a great year. Shannon Mackay's doing a thing. Joe Hill's back from illness. It's going to be tough. It is a long list. They deserve to be mentioned though, but you can't pick against Norwood, not until they lose one.
That's very true. Well, maybe that's this week, who knows, but definitely always enjoy seeing a grand final rematch there. So all those games, that's round 5, going to be very, very exciting. So make sure you head on down to your local club. Check out those games during the weekend. Tara, great to have you on. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Great chatting.
It's good.
And Doug, of course, you're always here, but thanks for coming again.
My pleasure, Sam. And looking forward to round 5 and everyone get out to a game.
It should be fantastic. Thank you so much for tuning in once more. We'll be back next week with more Premier League overtime here, and hope you have a fantastic weekend. We'll see you next week.